Shesh, very good to have you here. Let's start by talking about BHive. Can you explain to our audience what you guys do?
So, Gustavo, I'm very glad to be here. A great event with GRI Club.
Thank you.
Very quick intro about BHive would be BHive is a group which has a co-working space, and it has a finance entity which is private equity called BHive Capital. BHive Workspace is the more popular among the two. It is the largest co-working space chain of Bangalore. We operate 25 locations, 1.5 million square feet. And our largest property is an 8,000 seater, which happens to be the biggest co-working space in the world.
Wow, fantastic. 8,000 seater.
Yes.
That's only India can.
And I met somebody from Paris. They said, hey, we have something in Paris that used to be the biggest. Double check if you're bigger than that. I went to Google. They are 3,000 seats.
A little bit bigger. But talk about size. You were just mentioning that pre-COVID, you were not that big and you grew so fast after COVID. How many meters you had or?
So right now, before pandemic, we had 170,000 square feet.
170.
Right now, we are 1.5 million square feet, almost 10 times.
Wow. And we were just talking earlier today, and you mentioned that you recently have been to the States, Washington, New York, and we were just talking about how different it is, the office market in the US and in India, especially for co-working. In India is a completely different thing, but in New York, especially New York, where we work, used to be or still the largest landlord, and there's so much pressure in terms of high interest rate and the refinancing, is a completely different market from the US and here. Can you explain a little bit more?
Yes, I lived in the US as well, by the way. Between 2006 to 14, 8 years I lived in US. I worked in New York City. I've seen the best of times of New York City as well. In the last 3 months, I have visited United States twice.
Wow.
So that kind of, and before that, since pandemic I had not made a visit, but I ended up visiting twice in the last 3 months. So I was able to see the difference of what's happening with India and US. I can see that US things have changed drastically. One is, I think the bigger cities have, to an extent, I think both San Francisco and New York as a city in itself has seen a bit of a decline for whatever reasons. I think the crime, homelessness, maybe the drug, and there are so many things that have changed.
Yes.
The city either of these cities don't seem to be as safe as they used to be. I think people have somehow moved to suburbs, and I think maybe because of pandemic, I think just so many things happened. People have moved out of these two big cities and maybe many other big cities. I think that is one, and super contrast. Like I had never expected New York City to have declined so much. So that is one in itself as a city. Other than that, I think generally, if you see, right, you go around Mumbai or whatever, the kind of vibrancy that is there, I couldn't see that in the US right now, how it used to be once upon a time. And the offices as well. The moment I went to US, my news feed completely changed about, hey, why you should not go to office. And everybody's, all the articles that I'm getting on my Google news feed is about you should not go to office. And I think in the US, the lifestyle is very different. People have bigger houses. They probably have better facilities at home. Power never goes out. Internet is stable. And I think also people don't have a lot of support to take care of their kids. India, we have a lot more support. I think there are so many situations because of which I think Americans have got used to, hey, you know what, home is better. And for us to make the change and come to office again is much tougher. Somewhere I think I think the sense of freedom and all that is much more in the US. I don't know what it is. I think there may be a lot of theories, but the actual fact is that people in the US are way more opposed to come to office than in India. And in India is way more, the people coming to office, you can go around and see offices. They are like, you come to BHive, it will be like buzzing. Like, you wouldn't realize it is post-pandemic or whatever. You wouldn't see that situation in the US.
You have grown so fast considering the last 2-3 years results. But what's the ambition? Where do you see BHive in 2-3 years' time?
I think we would expect to grow significantly. I think close to, I think if you look at 2-3 years, adding another, purely as a square feet, adding another 2-3 million square feet will be definitely very much feasible.
In the same place, or
we will continue to grow in Bangalore. By the way, all our entire 1.5 million square feet is only in one single city, Bangalore. But we are likely to expand to Mumbai and Delhi and the major cities of India. We'll take it one step at a time. We don't want to hurry. We are kind of opposite of how a SoftBank funded company would work. We don't want to go and We have raised, believe it or not, our equity raise we have done so far is only $1.5 million, and we have actually done 1.5 million square feet. So we have been very conservative and very, very financially prudent in how we have grown. So I'm very careful how we choose properties.
And what's the main challenge for you to achieve your objectives in the next couple of years?
See, one of the things while we have grown so much post-pandemic, I think the global market, the global slowdown, how the pattern of real estate consumption happens, one has to watch very, very carefully, because we are in an industry where even a single mistake, taking one bad property can also cost a lot, because there's so much investment that goes in, there are contracts that are done. So I'm always looking out that, I don't want to make that mistake. I don't want to end up taking a property at wrong price, wrong location, maybe. So I think it's important to sense the global market. I do think that last few months have been challenging, and most likely next few months as well. While the demand does exist, it's not necessarily very easy to figure out. And also I would say one more thing. In India, the co-working has grown very well. Return to office is way better than US, but doesn't mean that everybody has returned to office. There are micro markets in India as well where vacancy rates are high, because especially large offices which are in the outskirts, they don't have as much demand as it used to be. It's the prime location where people are coming back, but the demand to take large properties and all have lessened. So I think it's a tricky market. It's not like you can just press accelerator and go.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was very insightful.
Yeah.